Jewish thought was clearly significantly influenced by Zoroastrianism, which was a Persian religion. There's overwhelming, undeniable scholarly support for the idea that some aspects of the later conception of Yahweh in Judaism were clearly influenced by Zoroastrianism, especially during and after the Babylonian Exile. During this whole period, Jews came into contact with Persian and Zoroastrian beliefs, which included a supreme god known as Ahura Mazda, and cosmic dualism, or good versus evil, angels, and concepts of resurrection and final judgment, and all that started to get worked into the mythology at this point. You don't see these concepts until these people started to come in contact with each other more. There's a vast amount of writings from the ancient Israelites, including the Hebrew Bible, but none of it has any clear concept of afterlife besides Sheol, which is just known as a neutral, shadowy place that everyone goes to after they die. But there definitely was no concept of a heaven or a divided form of salvation at that point. In contrast, the Gathas from Zoroastrian beliefs, they're dated to around 1000 BC, and they clearly describe an afterlife concept called the House of Song, which is described as a state of enlightenment and union with their god, Ahura Mazda. And they had the House of Lies, which is described as a state of spiritual isolation and torment. Of course, religious scholars want to question the dates, or when you explain the exact science and validity of the dating, they just say it's still not the same as the biblical heaven and hell, or the Zoroastrians were just speaking metaphorically and all that type of stuff. Regardless, the dualistic struggle between good and evil got more pronounced in Judaism after the exile, which, looking at it without any religious predisposition, you can easily see how it echoes the Zoroastrian cosmic dualism. It's also pretty crucial to realize that the idea of strict monotheism in early Israel is debated. The biblical texts themselves acknowledge the existence of other gods. References to the divine council, the Ben Elohim, or the sons of God, and the instances where Adonai is called God of gods or King of gods. This all can suggest a more complex picture than strict monotheism. In Deuteronomy, Adonai is one of the Ben Elohim, and he receives Israel as an inheritance from the Most High. There's so many examples, but the concept of strict monotheism as we understand it today is obviously more of a post-biblical development, and it doesn't fully represent the early Israelite beliefs without twisting and bending and omitting the very texts that they consider to be infallible and divinely inspired.